Hey everyone, we are going to do a kind of what Sojourn would call a after action report, or just a kind of a after round analysis. This is going to be of my round 5 match versus Tsak. First game that we're going to play here is Sinbad versus Bruce Lee. Now, I have a lot of bad experience with Sinbad versus Bruce Lee. This is just kind of how it ended up happening and what I ended up getting to start this off with. And I go ahead and maneuvers Bruce Lee up to here and just kind of draw a card and sit there. I didn't have enough to go all the way up to them, so I didn't want to just run right up. I wanted to leave a little bit of space. He has discarded his whatever that draw 3 card is there that Sinbad has, to use that for a boost. He's now going to attack me with the Porter. So this is the Porter's 3, Fortune and Favor. I defend with Taste of Blood because I figured I am not going to keep this card in my hand long enough to get down to 5 or less health. I go ahead and maneuver over here to Sinbad because I want to hit the big guy himself. So this will be Leap Away that he plays into my Corkscrew Finger Jab Jeet, which is that deal 1 damage Jeet. So he's going to get to move away. And I'll do some damage to him. Since that happened there and he moved away where he's no longer adjacent to me, I went ahead and moved up here to go ahead and let's just attack the Porter then. So I'll go up here. We'll get these cards off the table, and I'm going to go ahead and attack the Porter. Porter defends with a regroup. I attack with Little Dragon. I was more just trying to bait out some sort of defense card there. Ended up just baiting out a regroup. I guess I get to draw a couple cards. Not sure why I had that image from later in the game popping up there, but anyway. I move over there. Sinbad roams over and he attacks me with the first voyage. I went ahead and defended with a Be Like Water because I figured the only thing that could really be bad here would be like a commanding impact. Otherwise, I'm just taking a 4. I suppose it could be a momentous shift there as well. But I wanted to get a Jeet back. Now's a good time to do it. I don't need to be worried about those voyages yet, and don't need to be trying to defend against big high voyages because he doesn't have them yet. But you did get a good look at what all was in my hand there. I had some Jeets and 1-inch punch and a few other things. I'm going to go ahead and attack. Oh, what could I be attacking with? He has no idea here. Of course, he feints this Jeet, which is the 1 damage Jeet, which is... I'm going to go ahead and with the second time, I'm going to attack with this one into the momentous shift, which is not going to take any damage, but we are going to get to discard one of his cards out. And here I end up managing to grab Voyage Home, which is one of the few cards in Sinbad's deck that you actually want to pull out. You usually want to grab a feint or something. You don't want to grab those voyages and discard those things. Voyage Home, with that ability to pull all those other voyages back out, you're kind of happy if you get that one pulled out. So I'm feeling okay here at this point. So we'll go through a bit more here. We're doing a little bit of evading now. Looks like neither of us are quite ready to attack here. We're just maneuvering around, drawing our hands up. The next tournament, I may try to set it up where I can actually get a recording where I can see my hands, because I can't see what I have in here. I'm attacking. This is a Jeet into another feint. This is the momentous shift like Jeet, so, he's not going to do much there. just take the 1 damage to the porter. Porter comes up to me and attacks with Fortune and Feint, where he gets to draw 2 cards. I'm playing to be like water because I want to get my Jeets back. So I grab one of those. Yeah, I've got another Jeet in my hand. Do a lot of this thinking about stuff. And here's another attack. He's defended with a regroup. This is a skirmish. So that's going to deal some damage to the porter. And this here is where I kind of make a first mistake on it here, because I'm not paying attention to this right up here, not paying attention to the porter's health. I've just quit looking at that. The porter is at 2. Why is that significant that the porter is at 2? Well, because I have 1-inch punch in my hand, so I can just move up to the porter to deal 2 damage, and if you defeat it, you get the card back into your hand. So I need to just run up to the porter at some point and just deal 2 damage to him and be done with him. So we're going to maneuver around a bit, kind of do this little maneuver and draw dance. Sinbad's going to come up here to me. He's going to attack me. I defend with a feint. It's a regroup, so that's not good that I've he has drawn out one of my feints with a regroup. We're just kind of drawing each other's feints out with bad cards here. Go ahead and move along a little bit more. I'm going to move up this way. This is not another good space because this happens right there and he pins me in. So now I'm pinned and I'm getting attacked by Sinbad. And I figured it's still not going to be a huge voyage here because, it would only be 4. I did waste a momentous shift here. But I'll take some damage there. And this is the opponent discards a random card voyage, which he grabs another one of my Jeets. Don't like seeing those Jeets go. That's the momentous shift-like Jeet, so I hate seeing that thing go out of there. And at this point, trying to think about what I need to do to get out of this pin. And the obvious thing that I should do is use the 1-inch punch, go up there, hit the porter, just completely dispatch of him and run out of there. What I end up doing is something that is okay to do in a pin, but if you don't have a better way, and that is Bring It On. With Bring It On, I can move Sinbad to another space there adjacent, and that can get you out of a pin with Bring It On. So it's just kind of like, you put me in a pin? Well, bring it on! Okay, I'm leaving now. And so, yeah, but I should have just gone up to the porter and gotten rid of him. What am I doing? Not paying attention to this health dial. So anyway, more of this maneuver and draw dance. And Sinbad's like, nope, none of that. I'm coming up and attacking you again. He has attacked with a momentous shift. I've used the little dragon, which I never end up ever using that thing for a 6. It's always for like a 2 because I never let my cards get that low. And I'm going to play a nunchaku. Go ahead and boost onto this, attack a bit here. This is going to be a Jeet into the Toil and Danger. We can swap spaces if we feel like it. But he'll just take, a little bit of damage there off of the nunchaku, basically. So at this point, I go ahead and maneuver up to him there with this gained action and attack again. This is a Toil and Danger into a regroup there, so I managed to pull a decent card out of him there. I'm going to draw the 1 card for that. So I did manage to get something out of him with that and kind of bait him into that. I'm still, not paying any attention to the porter's health dial over there. Sinbad's going to move back up to me here. And this is going to be the Sinbad can move up to 2 spaces voyage. The voyages are starting to get a little hefty because this one's a 5. I played with a Be Like Water, so I get one of my Jeets back, but it did cost me 2 health. And Sinbad, of course, will move 2 spaces away. And oh, finally, I look up at that top left corner there and see that I've got this. I've got this 2 there on the porter. That I should have done something with that earlier. I really should have gotten rid of him when I was just in that pen, because then I would have that Bring It On to actually use to draw Sinbad in when he's being evasive, since he has a health advantage over me. But I don't have it now. It's the bad thing about these 1 copy cards that Bruce Lee has. So we'll go through here, looking through the decks, seeing what all we got, trying to think of how I'm going to get 13 health points off of Sinbad here. We're going to go ahead and attack. He defends with a Toil and Danger. I was attacking with, we'll back up here a bit since my screen kind of glitched there. This is the 1 damage to the opposing fighter Jeet, so, gonna take a little hit there, but that's not going to be much. He gets to move because of Toil and Danger. That's one thing that Sinbad is going to have over Bruce, is that he's got a lot of after combat movement. Not as much as Alice, but he's got quite a bit. And now I have fainted what I was anticipating being another voyage, and it was Commanding Impact. Ooh, that is rough. That is really rough. Go ahead and do the 1-inch punch against Sinbad, because why not? I was concerned that if I did it later that, if I did a Jeet, that he would move out of the way and I wouldn't get to use it. But it might be better to do that after the Jeet, because you can always, maneuver back up after the Jeet if he's moved away, and then hit him with that. So that might have been better. All right, so this is going to be the cancel all effects, which was played into a feint, so I don't get the to do any of my nasty little Jeet Kundo effects there. He's going to play it here. I'm thinking about what all he could possibly have in his deck. I defended with a momentous shift against this thing, which is, gonna take me down there. I used the feint at the wrong time there, unfortunately, and used it against the Commanding Impact instead of the actual voyage there. All right, so this is going to be Buffy versus Little Red. I did get to pick the map, so I picked Sunnydale. I like Sunnydale because it's a simple map and I don't have to think. I mean, that means my opponent doesn't have to think, but I figured if we're both not thinking, that we're at least on even footing. I have decided to go with Xander as a sidekick. I kind of find Xander to be a pretty good all-around fighter. So we're getting into our positions here. He is going to attack first since I had the map pick, or he's going to get to go first. He's going to maneuver up into position here. And what I have decided I'm going to do, there's a few things that I have in my hand. I've got a cartwheel kick, which you can see is what I defend with here. I did have some others in here. I had a feint in here that I could have used, which feint can be good when you're being attacked by one of these, because you got this wild right now, so it could be anything. I decided to go with the cartwheel kick because I felt being able to get up there to the huntsman and hit him twice is going to be important. especially since with the card that I have in my hand. Now he's hit me with stones in the belly, which is rough because it's going to pull a card out, and that card is going to be a feint, which that is not good. So I've lost one of my feints already. I take a little bit of damage. I do deal the 1 damage to the huntsman here as I maneuver up, or not maneuver, but move via card effect. And that 1 damage is going to actually be pretty critical here. And I decide to go ahead and attack with a daring strike. One of the reasons I'm doing that here against Huntsman is I know that the Huntsman doesn't have anything outside of stones in the belly that would allow him to be able to win against Daring Strike. And Daring Strike has a nasty side effect for Buffy if you lose. If you win, you draw a couple cards, but if you lose, you take a damage. And using those cards against the Huntsman kind of keeps me from taking that damage. And what kind of surprised me here was when I went up and hit the Huntsman, he did not defend. So the Huntsman just took the damage there. So now I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. I have the other Daring Strike in my hand right now, and I wasn't sure what exactly was going on. I figured he probably just didn't have the defense card for the Huntsman, which ended up being the case because he took that one, and that ended up dispatching of the Huntsman pretty much on my first turn here of the game. I think what was happening was when he maneuvered from here up to that spot and attacked Buffy, he wasn't anticipating Buffy moving in with the cartwheel kick and being able to double attack the Huntsman. I think he thought that Buffy or Xander might come up and make a single attack, but that he wouldn't be double attacked and he wouldn't be losing the Huntsman this early into the game. And that 1 hit from the cartwheel kick also ended up being important because that was going to be the only way I was going to get 9. So at this point, I've got a massive advantage over Little Red here. Just, whoops. Sorry, I kind of caused that to freak up there a little bit. But I've got a huge advantage here just with the Huntsman being completely gone at this point. So Red is going to go ahead and move up here to Buffy and make an attack. I'm going to go ahead and cartwheel kick again. This is going to be what big ears you have, which is just a 4. So I'll take the damage from that. Red is also going to take the damage from the cartwheel kick. I go ahead and move Xander up here, and I'm going to do a ridiculously telegraphed attack here with Xander attacking Little Red while Buffy is adjacent to Xander. I wonder what I could be playing here. Yeah, she's playing what, a terrible big mouth, which this is actually a good card to play into that because the card that I played was Right Hand Man, which is a printed value of 2, but has a attack of 6. And that's a good one because Xander's only going to be taking 2 because his card is only a printed value of 2. So I'm still dealing more to Red than Red is dealing to Xander. So that went well for me here. Initially, the next thing that happened, though, is I left both Buffy and Xander adjacent to Red while she had knives on her basket. And she just played Never Leave the Path, which will deal 2 damage to every adjacent fighter. So Buffy and Xander are both going to take 2 damage there. That is kind of rough there. It might still have been worth it, I don't know, to go ahead and get that big attack against Red there, but that did definitely hurt. Red is going to go back out of here now. I'm going to move Xander back up here and attack. This one, they're defending with the what's in my basket. I'm attacking with military knowledge, so there's no damage done there. I just get a card out of it, and they now have a wild on their basket. Red's going to go up here to this spot. And I have been fortunate to go ahead and get a lot of these Xander cards early. So I figured I've got the Xander card. Xander's going to die on me here. I'm going to go ahead and boost to get Xander up here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. And they're going to be able to tell that this is that right-hand man card, since I brought Buffy up back behind Xander. But Red doesn't have a lot of cancel effects, so we'll go ahead and do it. I have forced Red to play a basket on top of another basket and basically waste one of her wilds, which is good. And I get that damage in there. And really at this point, Xander has gotten through a lot of his, he's gotten through 3 of his specific attack cards here. So, Xander's doing good for me at this point. Okay. She has played What Big Eyes You Have. I defended with a regroup. What I was thinking to do there was that I would be able to go ahead and at least get a different card in my hand and the regroup. But since they played that, attack, or since they played that card that has the feign effect, essentially a feign effect, it just kind of did away with the regroup effect. I suppose if I'm going to have them play that into one, I'd rather them play it into that. But I kind of just played a card when I knew that Xander was probably going to die. And that may have not been the best use of a regroup there. I'm going to go ahead and move Buffy up here. I'm aggressive, and this is not a good place to be aggressive, especially with what I did. Right now, Little Red has a pelt on her basket, and I attacked with Mr. Pointy, which is a big high number attack card. And as you can see here, what a terrible big mouth effects are. Deal damage to the opposing fighter equal to the printed value. So Red is going to take 3 damage, and Buffy is going to take 5 here, which is huge since Buffy is only at 8. So yeah, that really hurts. This was probably the biggest mistake that I made in this entire game right here, was using that Mr. Pointy right then when Red had a pelt, especially when there was already another one of those larger mouth you have available. Okay, so Red's just going to kind of go up there. Red is boosting with Huntsman cards because they've got Huntsman cards in their deck. I think they're just trying to get some cards out of their hand and possibly get their symbols to line up there to what they want. It's one of those things you got to watch with Red, is that Little Red is like never randomly boosting with cards. I'm just kind of staying in place and maneuvering because, I'm happy over here. I was saying, you come over here and do something. Well, Red did come over here and do something. Red had boosted with that Knives card, and Red will now play Never Leave the Path. This is the second Never Leave the Path with Knives in the basket. So I now have this 2 damage dealt to me, and I am at 1 health now, which is not good. But I have a plan for this, which I'm going to come up here. I'm going to attack with Rapid Recovery. Now, they defend with what's in my basket, but the Rapid Recovery gives me a health. So, I don't know. I'm at 2 health now instead of 1, but I'm also adjacent to Little Red at the start of Little Red's turn. So, is this a good thing? I don't know. Red's got 3 cards. Red does attack. Now we got to look at the cards here. Sometimes when I think I'm not a real pro player, I'll try to do things that look like I'm a pro player, like pull up and look through their discard pile. Makes me think, and it makes me feel like I'm good. Maybe I can fake some other people into thinking that I'm really good. It's like, oh, he's looking at discard piles. He knows what he's doing. So anyway, I go ahead and end up fainting this card here, which is one of the big things that I did right, because I timed this feint rather perfectly here, because the effect on this one is deal 3 damage to the opposing fighter. If I don't play a feint there, Buffy is dead. That is like literally the only card that I could have played where Buffy would not be dead at the end of this. So that was timed well. I normally don't time my feints that well, but I sure did there. She's going to go move over there, get out of the way. I'm looking through what I got, and I'm like, man, I'm at 2. I don't know what to do. Whenever I don't know what to do, I just default to being aggressive. I'm going to boost with this Xander card. There were a few that didn't get played. And I'm going to attack. And this is going to be the wolf skin, which will draw 2 cards, since that matches into a skirmish there. So I'll take 2 damage. That puts us both at 2. And since I won the skirmish, I'm going to go ahead and back up so I don't get double attacked. Since I am only at 2, I can't afford a bunch of double attacks. Red is going to go ahead and come up here and attack again. I'm looking at what's there, that we've got knives on the basket again. I am literally now, I'm blocking the video here for a moment, but I'm now on my iPad looking and seeing what all cards are left in the deck there and what could be coming. So I play a feint into another Once Upon a Time. I managed to get through both of the Once Upon a Times with feints, so that is really, really wonderfully done there. I don't know how I managed to pull that off there. That was probably like maybe 25% skill and 75% luck that I managed to pull that off. So now I'm going to attack Little Red again. Little Red's going to defend with Wolfskin. This time they are not drawing cards. They are going to take 1 damage from Rapid Recovery, but Buffy is going to recover a health. So this Rapid Recovery is, making me feel a lot better here, being at 3 now instead of at 1 where I would be without those Rapid Recoveries. And once again, I'm going to go look through Red's discard pile here. Try to act like I'm, something great here. Well, I go ahead and attack. And Red will defend. Or Red will not defend, actually, because Red has no defense cards. So that whole kind of looking through there to see what could be in Red's deck really ended up not mattering there, because I ended up winning anyway because Red did not have any defense cards left. So I managed to get a win on this one, which is really exciting for me there. To get another win with Buffy. I think a lot of people kind of ignore Buffy. I think that she's pretty strong there. I managed to get through that even with making some mistakes. I managed to still get through that. All right, we're going to go into the third game here, which is going to be Bruce Lee versus Little Red. And since he got to pick the board, he picked one that was kind of advantageous for him, which will be Baskerville. So we'll get through here, do all of our keeps and everything. And I'm going to start with a maneuver here. And I didn't attack, I just went ahead and maneuvered and drew. And we'll see here that I go ahead and discard or regroup at this point to move up there to Red and attack. I add the Nunchaku to it. And Little Red has played What Big Eyes, which cancels effects. And with the Wild ignores the value, so that pretty much ignores my cancel effects, and also since it ignores the value, the nunchaku doesn't do anything to it either. And I didn't get my extra action on there. So that pretty much just kind of canceled all of that. I'm going to move back a space, of course. And little red's going to move up here. And then do an attack. Red is attacking with what's that in my basket to put a wild back up. I'm defending with Little Dragon because, yeah, I never keep that thing around at the end to be a 6. I'll lose a couple health and I'll draw a couple cards at least on that. And one thing you'll notice here, between rounds when we were putting the sets out there on Tabletop Simulator, somehow I ended up accidentally grabbing the Buffy minifig instead of the Bruce Lee. So I've got Buffy running around on the board instead of Bruce. Just roll with it, okay? And I go ahead and attack. And we'll see that this is going to be the deal 3 damage to the opposing fighter. 1 here into that, so I'm going to take a couple damage. She's only going to take 1. We do switch spaces there, and I can attack again. And I'll play a what's that in my basket. This is the momentous shift-like Jeet, which is good to play after that switching places Jeet. So she's at least going to take a damage there. I'm thinking about what to do here. Just kind of weighing if I want to keep attacking more or if I should run and get out of there to safety. I end up deciding to attack because I'm going to need to be aggressive here, I think. This will be the wolf skin, so that's not going to have any negative effects for me. And I'll end up taking a couple damage here. So I am doing a fair bit to her here. And so I'm doing all right here. Now it's stones in the belly. This is where I'm going to have to discard a random card and add it to it. I don't have a lot of cards left, only 2 there. They did grab the regroup, so at least that didn't add much to it there. And I'm actually going to go ahead and attack with this last card, which was a momentous shift, which red took undefended. Now that ended up being, we'll see how this pays off for me here, because I did manage to get an undefended attack through, an undefended attack for 5 through, but I am pretty much out of cards here. So I've now got to go maneuver for my last action here. Draw 1 card, hope it is a defense, and hang out in that corner while red has like all these cards. Red has played into the woods there to go ahead and move up to 3 spaces and gain an action so that she can get up here next to Bruce. And then instead of attacking, ended up playing a Grim Tail to go ahead and heal up for, which was kind of surprising to me. I was anticipating getting attacked here, so that was not what I was expecting. I'm thinking maybe at this point that they're just trying to bait me into attacking, but I don't have any cards, so I don't remember what the 1 card was I had there, unfortunately. It'd be nice to have that, but I am going to attack here. What's that in my basket for 4 with the discarding 1 card Jeet. So we'll go up here, pull a card out. Well, that is a nasty card that I like to see gone out of her hand, so I'm not opposed to that. I have a gained action. I'm going to go ahead and go over there and take that. And now maybe moving over to here might have been a little bit of a mistake, because those melee fighters like to hang out, or not melee, these ranged fighters like to hang out here in the library. I'm kind of just letting her hang out there. Now it ends up that Red doesn't really just camp out there. She ends up coming out, so it's not as bad as it could have been for me. I'm just staying where I am and drawing cards because I need some cards. And as you can see here, Huntsman's coming out to be able to get out here and attack me. I'm just once again looking at what card was on top of the discard pile, which ended up putting Knives up there with that. So there are some nasty things they can do with Knives. I'm going to move up there. And this is where I'm starting to get kind of frustrated that I have not drawn any Be Like Waters yet. So now I'm going to boost and go ahead and go right up here to Huntsman. I haven't been able to play Be Like Waters and recycle Jeets, but I'm hoping they're coming, and I'll be able to do a little bit here still. We have a Skirmish into Stones in the Belly, so I've got to discard a random card. Really don't like doing that. That is not one that I want to do because that completely blocks that entire thing. So I just did nothing, and I lost Bring It On, which is a one-off card that's pretty important. So losing that is rough. So now Red's going to attack, or the Huntsman rather, and since the Huntsman is adjacent, he would get that 6, except that I feinted it. So it would be just a couple of damage there. That was one of my better played feints. And I'm going to go ahead and attack. And once again, this is just a little dragon here for 2. It was undefended, so Huntsman will take a little bit there. And I'm going to maneuver and run off there. One thing that I'm kind of making a bit of a mistake of is I'm not deciding if I really want to focus on taking out Huntsman or Red, and I kind of end up splitting my damage between the two. And I really either need to go after Red hard early or go after Huntsman hard early and get rid of him. They've now played this on Never Leave the Path with Knives on the basket, so I took another 2 damage from that, from scheme damage. So I'm going to play 1-inch punch here and just go ahead and punch him even though it doesn't kill him. And then I'm just going to bug out of there. I was getting enough cards in my hand that I was figuring I was going to have to discard something, so I may as well just hit him with that. Once again, into the woods here to move 3 and get up here near me. And it's just, starting to get hard to do a lot here. I'm just getting low on health. I'm not getting my Be Like Waters. I'm not able to recycle Jeets. I'm still attacking, but I'm just not doing a lot. And and they point out here that I can't attack because this space and that space, despite looking at, are not adjacent. This is something that I have trouble keeping straight in my head. So, fine, I'll go there and I'll attack. Fine. And I'm attacking with a feint, just to try to cancel some big card. They play a card that basically cancels, so we just kind of threw some of our cancel cards out at each other. It's as close to a double feint as you're going to get with Little Red. So I go back up to that space. I'm looking like, oh yeah, they don't touch. Look at that. And, I didn't get rid of the Huntsman. And the symbols line up for Grimtail. She's going to heal another 4. And now she's at 13. And this is really going to be uphill, especially since I wasn't able to recycle any of those Jeets early with Be Like Waters, and I haven't been drawing any of them. And now she's just got this huge health advantage of me, and Little Red is just going to stop attacking me. I'm going to hang around and try to get attacked. I'm going to go ahead and play a Nunchaku here. I'm going to attack, and then Red's like, wait a minute. You're not adjacent to me. Come on, we talked about this earlier. I'm like, fine, I'll move over there. And we'll see what we get here. This will be a wolf skin into a skirmish. So, we'll at least take a little bit of damage there. But, yeah, I'll go back to there. Just staying here close, like, please attack me. Of course, he knows not to attack me because, he doesn't want me getting those Be Like Waters. He's just going to scheme damage me and run around in a void. See, more scheme damage. Oh, man. Getting tired of these Never Leave the Paths. Okay, I'm going to attack again. It's not a Jeet, so it's something stupid. What a terrible big mouth you have, which does get to deal the damage. And I played a momentous shift there, but that is not going to do anything about it because it's after combat damage of 3, and that pretty much took me out there. And as we can see, I was holding on to a bunch of Be Like Waters and a feint. And so I guess that's kind of two things that went wrong for me there. One was not dealing with this guy. I should have just gone hardcore, taken him out, gotten rid of him because, Red was able to heal up 8, and if you look at the health total there, I might have been able to deal with Red if Red hadn't have been going up, with 8. That just makes it hard to deal with Red when you've got 8 more health on top of it. Getting all these Be Like Waters so late and having a handful of them and not being able to do anything with them is extremely frustrating. And Tsak knew not to attack me when I had, just a bunch of Be Like Waters and no Jeets there. He knew not to do that with the health advantage that he has. So that was smart on his part. But anyway, that was a look at my round 5. Hopefully, I'm able to learn something from looking over this, and others of you can take a look at this and learn some things too. If you like the videos on this channel, give them a thumbs up and a like. You can go to the comments and leave any thoughts that you have about any of this, and you can also subscribe to my channel and take a look at all the other videos that I have so you can make sure that you don't miss anything.